This is 7 News, the voice of the border.
Tonight, road funding doubled for councils, but who gets what, still uncertain.
Politicians, residents and businesses oppose plans for a strip club in the heart of Albury.
And the first flight from the Gold Coast touches down in Albury.
7 News begins now.
Good evening. Federal road repair funding is on its way as the government vows to double the cash it provides to councils.
But fed-up residents know the extent of the damage all too well and don't believe it'll be enough to repair the minefield.
Every man and his dog will tell you.
The road's a disgrace because of the potholes.
Right across the northeast.
Everywhere you go, we've got potholes.
And every taxpayer's asking the same question.
Because why can't they go along and just fill these in?
Oh, the roads are a mess, but they haven't got enough money spent on them.
All the country areas are the ones that are really suffering at the moment.
The call, General Member for Indi.
Thank you, Speaker.
Leaving those in Canberra to take it to the top.
They are unsafe to travel on. What are you doing to increase funding for regional and rural roads?
The government will be investing more money in local roads.
It's a promise to fill potholes via ailing council coffers, doubling the current funding dished out to every local council across the nation, starting next year.
I don't think you have to go very far in any community to see that the local government has been struggling to keep up.
While some state-run roads have all the roadwork signs, traffic lights and witches' hats, but never any workers in sight. Many roads across the northeast have been down to one lane for over a year. The size of the problem no longer just potholes, but a minefield.
They could double it. I don't think it'll fix it. Yeah, I don't think it'll fix it. They'll need a lot more than that.
Jacqueline Stanley, 7 News.
A man in his 50s has died at the Strawberry Fields Festival in Tocumwal. Emergency services were called to the scene yesterday morning after reports of the tragedy. Rochelle Putnikovic is here with us now. And Rochelle, what more can you tell us?
The body of the 51-year-old man was located by Murray River Police District officers. Yesterday at around 10:50 a.m, emergency services were called to Tupple Road in Tocumwal in relation to reports of a deceased person. From Friday until Sunday, Strawberry Fields brought 12,000 people to the region. The sold-out festival advertised annually as 3 days of music, art and community. Unfortunately, it took a turn for the worse. Police are investigating the incident and believe the man's death is not suspicious.
OK, thanks for the update, Rochelle. That's Rochelle Putnikovic reporting for us tonight.
A man has died following a two-vehicle crash in the state's south. At about 9 a.m. on Sunday, emergency services were called to Alpine Way, south of Cancoban, after reports a motorbike and car collided. A 62-year-old died at the scene. The driver of the car was taken to Tumbarumba Hospital for mandatory testing.
A protest has been held on the site of a proposed strip club in Albury. A small group of mostly young people gathered outside a former beauty salon that a local woman hopes to turn into an adult entertainment centre. There's a big groundswell of opposition to the plan from local businesses who say it'll ruin the family character of the shopping area. And protesters say the strip club goes against a trend of phasing out these types of venues on the grounds they promote a harmful sexist culture and exploit women.
My greatest fear is me having to walk through here with my little sister past a shop that objectifies women, and when she asks what that shop is, having to explain it to her. She's 13 years old.
Objectifies women. They're no longer persons. It's very anti-women.
It's very early days. We do know that it is an issue that has a lot of people in our community concerned, so we're certainly aware of the application, but we just need to allow the process time for our Albury City officers, I guess, to work through, as they do with any development application that comes before us.
The Shadow Minister for Women and local member Susan Lee is opposing the development. More than 1,000 residents and business owners have signed a petition against it.
Wodonga Council will tonight vote on hosting a regional health summit as it continues to fight for a Greenfields hospital site. A recommendation calls on mayors, politicians and council CEOs to attend a meeting tabled for March next year. Mayor Ron Mildren says the multi-shire summit will bring all the government players into the same room. Member for Farrer, Susan Lee, has also thrown her support behind the proposed summit.
Bonza has touched down at Albury Airport, making its newest route connecting the border to the Gold Coast. It follows the popularity of flights to the Sunshine Coast. The budget airline says Albury was one of the top picks for its latest venture.
Touching down from surfers' paradise to the Murray.
Yeah, it was on time. The staff were friendly. It was terrific.
I hope people use it. It's $1,000 with Qantas, $200 with Bonza, and it's fantastic. Great service.
And making history on the tarmac today.
Our first flight between our new Gold Coast base and Albury.
Flights will operate 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays and Saturdays, with one-way tickets starting at $79 per person. With one of the most popular routes on the budget airlines network, Mr Jordan says picking Albury was a no-brainer.
So we said one of the first names down on the list was let's take Bazza and his friends into Albury and let's connect the two regions, because based on the Sunshine Coast success, we're expecting something similar to and from the Gold Coast.
Not to mention Queensland's interest in the border.
Between 40 and 45% of bookings were actually inbound to the Albury region, which took us a little bit by surprise.
Bonza estimates the new connection will bring in over 100,000 new passengers to Albury Airport's network. It's a welcomed boost in tourism for the region.
I can only imagine what it will do, not just for tourism, but also for business and industry. Again, it puts the regional centres of Albury and Wodonga firmly on the business development and tourism footprint that we need in a growing regional area.
Proving the sky isn't the limit for the border. Phoebe Worthley, 7 News.
New figures show almost half of families aren't enrolling their kids in swim classes, believing their children are too young to benefit. But many believe the rising cost of living is also playing a role in the dangerous trend.
Swim Safer Week has returned for its 2023 season. Until Sunday, more than 1,000 swimming schools across Australia will focus on saving lives.
We want to make sure that kids understand self-preservation and how to respond to risks and dangers in the water. We set up stations and the kids move through different areas, reach rescues, throw rescues, our tactile area, which includes sensations of what they might walk on underwater.
The program is timely, with research indicating that 41% of Australian children are currently not enrolled in swimming lessons, with 38% of parents believing their children are too young to learn to swim.
Drowning happens when kids experience things that they're not used to. So the more opportunity to learn to swim, the more exposure they get to potential situations.
They can get into trouble pretty quick if they can't swim. So I taught my kids when they were little.
Very important. It's a life skill, really, that all kids should learn.
As the cost of living worsens, state government funding has helped families stay afloat. The New South Wales government launched its first lap program, offering $50 swimming vouchers for children aged between 3 to 6 years.
There is funding out there available to the schools that they can make available to families as vouchers, and that means that swimming lessons can be subsidised for people that are doing it tough.
Reiterating the importance of water safety.
Drowning's not the only thing. There's near drownings where kids are damaged for life, brain issues, lack of oxygen, spinal injuries, all sorts of things that can go wrong in water.
Rochelle Punikovic, 7 News.
Well, Danny is here now for a look at today's weather, and Danny, it was pretty warm out there today.
It was a bit cloudy too, guys. Hello to you and to everyone. Hope you're well. We did see a bit of cloud cover and it trapped in a bit of warmth but didn't deliver much rain, at least, though there is a little more expected later this evening. Today's cloud cover trapping that heat as temperatures reached into the 30s. Wangaratta getting to 31 degrees, Corowa a top of 30, Rutherglen got to 32 degrees, Albury keeping it cooler at 29 degrees, 16 overnight, Mount Hotham getting to a top of 16 degrees. Overnight temperatures were pretty gentle actually, keeping to the high teens. Not much of a breeze until around midday when they did a 180, drifting from the south to southeast. Now there is some rain on the radar and possibly even some storms. I'll tell you when and where a little later in the bulletin, guys.
Bit of everything. Thanks, Daddy. See you later on.
Up next in 7 News, celebrating 150 years of the Chiltern CFA.
And a sneak peek inside a former Prime Minister's house.
Welcome back. 15 animal rights protesters have been charged with trespassing after shutting down a Benalla slaughterhouse earlier this year. Protesters from the Farm Transparency Project climbed inside gas chambers, shutting down operations at the Firth Road facility. 22 protesters have now been charged over the incident. Animal rights advocates say the decision to charge more protesters 7 months after the shutdown is a petty move.
It's known as one of Chiltern's best kept secrets. A former Australian Prime Minister grew up in the northeast Victorian town, and today the community marked the national legacy he left from humble beginnings.
A step back in time, telling tales of national history. Former Prime Minister John McEwen grew up from humble beginnings in Chiltern. This home, Mortimer's Lodge on Oxford Street, now an Airbnb, is where it all started for the McEwens.
David James McEwen brought this house up here, dragged it by bullock train in 1895 as he established himself in the local chemist shop here in Chiltern.
Mr McEwen was born and raised in the town for 7 years before working his way up the political ranks. He became Australia's Prime Minister for just 21 days in the late 60s when Harold Holt went missing.
Sir John McEwen did it in December 1967, but in much blunter fashion.
Might only have been Prime Minister officially for 3 weeks, but he had been acting Prime Minister for 500 days throughout his senior career.
Today marks the 43rd anniversary of Mr McEwen's death, and the Chiltern community was invited to walk through the house where his father planted the family's roots.
People can come and have a glass of wine and walk through the cottage, and I'll tell a few stories about John McEwen.
All proceeds of today's walkthrough and an upcoming wine and cheese event will be donated to the Chiltern Athenaeum. The funds will be put towards a climate control system at the site.
High temperatures, humidity, doesn't go well with very fragile artefacts, but also with John McEwen's artefacts there as well. They're of national importance.
The hotel and all the businesses are having raffles and raising funds, so just overwhelmed at the generosity of people. Just shows how much they care about our history and preserving it.
Clesianta, 7 News.
The Chiltern community turned out in droves over the weekend to celebrate a major milestone for the local CFA. It's one of the state's oldest brigades, and the fanfare marking the 150th anniversary did not disappoint.
All the bells and whistles for a momentous milestone.
It was fantastic for the brigade. It's 150 years is no mean feat.
It's just a community group. It's like a family.
The Chiltern community lined the main street over the weekend, showing their appreciation and support for 150 years of the local CFA brigade, the 18th established in the entire state.
To be here today with our modern appliances, with a strong membership, it's just full credit to all our members.
A parade saw old versions of vehicles and uniforms.
By the CFA Chief Officer, Jason Heffernan, and the Chiltern Fire Brigade Captain, Shannon Beaker.
Before the convoy congregated at Lake Anderson.
It was a mammoth effort to pull it together. It took months and months of planning, so when you see it all come together, you can be a really proud captain because my job's made easy by the team that surrounds me.
Russell Martin is Chiltern's longest-serving active firefighter, a big part of the brigade's rich history. He was presented with a 50-year service medal at the weekend's celebrations.
Getting a 50-year service award was quite something.
Mr Martin has seen huge change in firefighting tech and equipment over the last 5 decades, but says he wouldn't change it for the world.
As a school kid, I used to go to fires on the back of his truck, and they decided that I should come and join because I wasn't insured. and then I became a member, and it's just been a really good journey.
Clesianta, 7 News.
Up next in 7 News, a former Albury student leads Australia to its 6th World Cup title.
And football dreams on the line as the region holds its breath for the AFL draft.
Welcome back. A former Lavington Public Murray High student and New City cricketer is tonight on top of the world. Australian cricket coach Andrew McDonald has led Australia to its 6th World Cup title against host nation India. Coming into the final as underdogs, Australia was brilliant in the field before Travis Head blasted 137 to see the Aussies home. Under McDonald, Australia becomes the first nation ever to hold both the one-day World Cup and Test Championship at the same time. Well, Belvoir stand alone as Cricket Albury-Wodonga's #1 side after 7 matches. The Eagles won the Battle of the Big Birds, while a hopper hit a knockout to remember.
If you can get yourself in, there are runs to be had at Wodonga's Kelly Park. Caden Withers and Nick Whitelaw getting Belvoir off to a fast start before the Crows struck.
Full length delivery on the pads and give it out.
1 for 25 didn't slow up Withers as he was joined at the crease by Josh Staines. The pair blasting a quick-fire 70-run partnership, Withers hitting 12 fours in his 67.
Dragged down and hit in front of point. Well, he had to get it exactly well placed and he did that.
But when Staines fell for 20, a steady flow of wickets soon followed. Belvoir at one stage looking at 250 plus, reduced to 7 for 207. East Albury openers Matt Tom and Gargan Singh making a great start to the run chase. But Belvoir were too good, Matt Yench taking 3 for 19 as the Eagles won by 69 runs. Meanwhile, North Albury and coach Matt Condon have made a mid-season statement. Condon and Ben Fulford posting a 134-run partnership as North Albury made 310. Condon eventually out for a magnificent 113 from just 97 balls. St Pat's bowled out for 239 in reply. Brian Vittori has taken 4 wickets as New City claimed their first win. Phoenix chasing down Wodonga's total of 141 with 4 wickets to spare. In other matches, Tallangatta and Corowa had wins, while Ross Dixon made 99 not out in Albury's victory over Wodonga Raiders. Stephen Murphy, 7 News.
A brilliant century has been the highlight of the district cricket round. Pathanga's Jack Robinson scored 108 runs from just 105 balls, including 4 sixes in his side's big round 6 win. In Hume League, Holbrook has broken through for its first win of the season, defeating Rand by just 5 runs. And in Wangaratta and District, Yarrawonga Mulwala has taken outright points in their clash against Benalla. Well, 5 local players will be among the many AFL hopefuls over the next 30 hours. The AFL draft will be held tonight and tomorrow night, and the Albury Tigers will be in the thick of the action.
Over the next 2 nights, some footballers' dreams will come true. Among the hopefuls, a host of local players, including a former St Patrick's junior footballer and now Albury Tiger, Phoenix Gothard.
Super excited, I suppose. It's a dream that's come around my whole life, so to have this opportunity is amazing and worked so hard for it all year, and then for it to come through now has been pretty special.
Playing for the Murray Bushrangers, Gothard averaged 16 possessions from 10 matches this season. He also represented the Allies at the National Carnival. Gothard's speed, skill and pressure as a small forward attracting plenty of scouting interest.
I suppose I provide a little bit of speed, a little bit of agility here and there, so that's probably the main thing that I provide for an AFL team. So I suppose with how football's transitioned in the modern world, that I'm quite suited to it.
Gothard is not the only local expected to find himself at an AFL club. Fellow Tiger Connor O'Sullivan and Wangaratta Rover Darcy Wilson tipped to go inside the top 20 picks. But the story could have been so different for Gothard after initially choosing cricket when he was 16.
I got the opportunity at senior football, and I suppose at that time I had to pick between cricket and footy at this sort of age. So I suppose my enjoyment for cricket dropped off a little bit, and I loved footy so much. So I thought I saw a pathway in that and took a bit of influence from a few of the boys that got drafted around here, and then thought I'd give it a crack.
Draft experts are predicting Gothard to potentially find himself at St Kilda, North Melbourne or the Giants, who have watched him through their academy system. Either way, Gothard won't mind where he ends up after enduring some tricky interview questions.
Yeah, there's a few here and there that you get ripped a little bit, but I suppose that comes with it, and how you can react to that is probably the main thing they're looking for. So yeah, I suppose it's a bit daunting here and there, but you just got to accept at the end of the day and just go follow the process, I suppose.
Stephen Murphy, 7 News.
Still to come in 7 News, Danny's back and she's got your local weather forecast. That's next.
Hello again, time for another look of the weather. And on the synoptic chart, troughs are triggering showers and storms over parts of New South Wales. Heavy falls are likely in that state's far east by Wednesday. A high pressure system is keeping much of the southwest dry for now. Taking a look at that rainfall chart, and it is set to intensify over the next 8 days. The border region expecting anywhere between 0 and 50 millimetres. Looking at Tuesday now, and a high chance of showers in the afternoon. Only around 8 millimetres of rain in that though, possibly even a thunderstorm. Temperatures sticking to the high 20s, Cobram reaching a top of 30 degrees, 29 degrees over in Shepparton, and some showers over in Omeo. By Wednesday, showers are set to ease by the middle of the week. Light winds around the region as most of us hit that 30 mark. Over in Wagga, it's going to get to 30 degrees, 30 expected across much of the region as Shepparton hits a top of 28. A little warmer by Thursday, in fact, all of us hitting those low 30s. Rutherglen, 31, Wagga Wagga topping at 31 degrees as well. Yarrawonga, it's like there's a common theme, 31 degrees. Benalla getting to 30. Meanwhile, in our Alpine region, we're sticking below that 20 mark as usual, 20 degrees over in Mount Buller. Looking at the next 7 days, and things are set to clear by the middle and end of the week, keeping those temperatures warm though, before showers return next weekend. Suffice it to say, guys, keep that umbrella handy.
Yeah, we sure will. It'll be good to see the rain. Thanks, Danny. See you later.
And that is all we have time for tonight. Thanks for watching. You can always keep up to date on our website or, of course, at 7plus.
Coming up next, 7 years from Melbourne. Have a lovely night. We'll see you again tomorrow night from 6 o'clock. See you then.